Okay, we are live. Good morning, everyone. It is Monday. Oh, just at 9 a.m., so we're on time, so that's good. We're a couple minutes early. I'm in Ellensburg, and it's a beautiful sunny day here, and I have Danielle, who I'm going to introduce in a second, and she's in Yelm. And is it sunny in Yelm?
It's so sunny.
Nice. So a beautiful Monday morning, and we're gonna have a conversation with Danielle today. But my name is David Douglas, Dr. D for my page here. And my goal for these interviews, this is my third interview. My first one was Cassie. It was last week, I think. Anyway, it was for Cassie. And then yesterday, if you watched, I did a very special interview on Father's Day with my son, who's also a person in recovery. And so that was really good. Danielle reached out to me a couple weeks ago. Danielle and I met about a year ago when I gave a lecture, and she was making a movement to turn her life in a positive direction. And I just heard that she actually saw me twice, so that was cool and well for her. And what I appreciated hearing from her about her memory of that is two things, is that it was educational and it gave her hope. And so, Danielle, thank you for that. That really means a lot to me, that's what it's, that's your recollection of that. So we're going to, this will be about 20-30 minutes if you're watching us live, and it's being recorded, and I'll post it later for people to watch. But we're going to talk about Danielle's walk as a person in recovery, and how it's had a positive effect on her life. So before I go into the areas that I want to talk about with you, Danielle, why don't you tell our listeners, when you think of yourself as a person in recovery now, and I'm going to say congratulations now. I don't care. You're going to celebrate a year on Wednesday, and my guess is you're going to make it to Wednesday. So congratulations to your upcoming recovery anniversary, a year. And I know that's a big deal. So when you think about that, being a person in recovery, what does that mean to you?
For me, it just means a total life change. It means for me that I am definitely, sometimes I get because I'm a very emotional person, and sometimes I get emotional because I'm so grateful that I'm in recovery. My life has changed in so many different ways, and I think that for me, being in a person in recovery, it's really important to be able to spread the message of hope, because there's a lot of people still suffering. And I believe that if they hear the hope, then maybe they will, get a chance to be able to change their life as well and be able to live the life that they deserve. A lot of people don't think that they deserve good things in their life because they've done bad things. And I am a true believer that, we're all good people. We've just made bad choices in our life. And if I can give somebody a little bit of hope, I think that will be, that'll spark something in their brain to say, I deserve to be clean. I deserve to live a life of recovery, because recovery is amazing in my life.
That is, you said a lot of really good things in that. And that number one is what I like hearing come from you, is that you have hope in your life today, that you want other people to see the goodness in themselves. And you can relate to this. I can relate to this. Anyone in recovery can relate to it. When we're in active use, it's not like we're, oh, yay, I'm using. There was all part of me that knew I could do better, I remember I have a picture of me as a little boy that would think about when I was a young man or a boy and I wanted to do amazing things, and then drugs and alcohol came in and it kind of rips all of that away. And so you want to say to people, you can do good things. You can find a life in recovery. You can do what you're doing right now.
And you deserve it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And yes, right. You deserve it. That is so great. And I'm so excited to hear you saying those things now, because my guess, well, I don't want to guess. So how is that? Where were you a year ago in your mind?
Oh, A very, 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 very dark place. It was just a vicious cycle. Um, so finding means to get more, um, being sick, abandoning, not, I was present in my kids' life, but I wasn't emotionally present.
Yeah.
So, I've always wanted to be a good mom, but I realized like I couldn't get clean for my kids. I had to get clean for myself. And I had to be able to put my recovery first, because if I didn't have recovery, I wouldn't have my children.
Yeah.
So that was a big part for me to be able to realize, like I deserve to be clean so I can be a good mother to my children.
Yeah. Nice. I like that. Me and Tyler were talking about it yesterday when I interviewed him. Both of us as dads, when I was out there, drinking and using drugs and all of the behavior that goes with it, the one person that was always on my mind was my son. So being able to,
Yeah.
and like you said, being able to recognize that, and I preach this, I educate this now about self-care. Self-care is so important for me so that I can take care of Tyler and so that you can take care of your kids.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, good, nice. Okay, so here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna take a little walk, and for viewers, I educate on this circle that I show when I do lectures. And so for this one, Danielle's our person in the middle, and I'm gonna do a walk around this circle that has, you can't really see it, I'm gonna tell you what it is, but it has family, it has financial health, it has education, whatever that education is for an individual, nutrition, exercise, and a term that I use is community. And I'm going to ask each person I interview what that means for them. So Danielle, let's start with one that for me, I'm a family guy, right? Both my undergraduate and graduate work is in family studies. Being a dad is my most important role in life. Of course, being a husband to my wife, a brother and uncle, and all of those. So for you as a mom, a wife, you're married, is that correct?
I'm actually engaged.
Yeah. Oh, yay, exciting. Okay.
Yeah.
So as a fiance, as a daughter, if you have siblings, as a sister. So when you think of a family, when the word family as a person in recovery, what comes to mind?
It's definitely one of my number one important things in my life. When I was using it wasn't, of course I always loved my family, I always loved my kids, but it wasn't a number one top priority for me. Today I actually have relationships with my parents.
Nice.
I have 5 sisters. I'm the oldest, and I have pretty good relationships with them. My relationships with my children are absolutely amazing. And for me, a lot of my friends in recovery are my family, because we have bonded and we have made really good relationships and going through struggles and people being able to relate to each other. So family today is a number one top priority for me because it hasn't always been. And in early recovery, it was kind of hard because people are like, okay, is she really going to do this thing? Is she going to really stay clean? Because I've tried a couple times. Yeah. And this is the time that I've been successful. So I believe it, for me, that family is very, very important. And it has a lot to do with my support system. Right now I'm living with my parents, and I don't know what I would do without them. They've been my number one support no matter what I've done in my life. No matter, they've always been there for me. So family is definitely a very important part of my life.
Nice. So you're the oldest of all your siblings.
I am.
What a powerful, positive thing you are doing right now for all of your siblings.
Yes.
I don't want to, ask if they're having any issues or anything like that, but I want to just talk about it from a family systems perspective. The amazing, massive, positive impact you're having on those girls. You need to hear that, Danielle. It's huge. It's huge. And mom and dad, right?
Thank you.
My guest,
they're amazing.
So tell our audience, tell me, and don't go into details because I'm forward thinking. You remember that from my lectures. I don't want to talk about the past.
Yes.
How has that change been with the relationship with your parents over the last year?
Well, they actually trust me.
Mm.
I work at a coffee stand that my mom and my sisters had started,
Yeah.
and I actually am able to work for them. Um, and they're proud of me. You know, like, of course, they've always wanted better for me in my life, and they've always guided me in the right direction. But that's not what Danielle did. Danielle did what she wanted to do, and I'm just very grateful that because a lot of parents, not just necessarily give up on their kids, but say, okay, we're going to take a step back and we're going to let you do your thing and let's hope you come back and you find your way. Well, my parents have always been there for me, and they've always just been a very good support system. So I can definitely say today that my parents are proud of who I am, and that's a big deal for me. So
The smile, that is so,
yeah.
so cool. And to see that transformation, and any parents out there listening, I also appreciated what you said. As a parent myself, as a parent yourself, we want the best for our kids. And having a family member that has a substance use disorder is active addiction. It's so hard and it's so painful. And I talk about, for parents, healthy boundaries, right? Some
Yes.
people use the word tough love and all these. No, I'm all about, we need to have healthy relationships and healthy boundaries. And I know for some parents, having to have healthy boundaries is one of the toughest decisions ever, for a
Yes.
parent. So for your parents to be able to now see you doing what you're doing in your life, work with the family business, and you said a keyword: trust. Huh, trust
Yeah.
is returned. Yay! That's
Yeah.
and they're
That's a
proud
big
of you.
deal.
Yeah, they're proud of you.
Yes.
So, as a parent of Tyler turns 30 next month, as a parent of an adult child, I'm proud of you, Danielle, and I'm sure your parents get to.
Thank you.
Oh, and
They tell me all the time.
yes, yeah, because they're like, yeah, this is great. Let's keep this going, and you're going
Yeah.
to. I love talking about Tyler today, right? And those conversations before were just tougher conversations. I always loved him the same. I always wanted the best for him. But man, I get a cheer for Tyler today in such a positive way. And so good for you and your parents. So what now? You have children?
I do. I have a 12-year-old daughter and a 10-year-old son.
Ah, so talk to the audience about the transformation or the transition in that relationship over the last year with your walk in recovery.
So, with my children, I had been in active use their whole life. And I had been in toxic relationships, and so my kids didn't really trust me either. Um, there would be times when I would be there, and then there would be times that I wouldn't be there. So it's definitely been a transformation with my children because they didn't really believe what I was going to be doing was going to be a good thing. They knew that when I went to treatment, they knew where I was going. My parents brought them to visit me. Like, I've always been really open and honest with my children about what I'm going through, because I believe that they're at the age to where they can understand.
Yeah.
And I don't I don't want to keep secrets from them when it has to do with being in recovery, because it's an amazing thing. And it is possible. So I want them to know, if they ever have the disease of addiction, that they're able to know where to go and what to do and how to get help. So my trust with my children has definitely grown. They attend meetings with me as well. And it was so funny because me and my son were riding in the car, and he's like, "Mom, aren't you going to have a year clean soon?" And it's just like, it fills my heart because my kids are proud of me. Like, they have seen where I've been and how far I've come. And that right there is an amazing journey for me when it comes to my children and being a productive mother. So
that's all of that. So good to hear. And I wrote a couple things down, and our kids, they know, at a very young age, our kids are watching us. You might remember this from my lecture, and I make a point to do this for parents who are trying to turn their lives around. Our kids are watching us all the time. We might think they're not, intuitive to what's going on, but they are. They know.
Yeah.
And so you're seeing that with clarity now, that your son is like, "Hey, Mom, you're going to have a year. And you're like, yeah, I am. They know, right? They're always listening. And so that's great to hear that you're getting to experience.
And they're proud.
Yeah, you're darn right they're proud. So let's shift gears. All beautiful information on family and the effects of your recovery on the family system in huge positive ways. So let's talk about, and this can be a sensitive area, but just it's an important area about financial health as a person in recovery.
So that was definitely a shift for me. I haven't always been, early in recovery, I haven't always been responsible. So having a budget is important to me. Not because I tend to want to go buy all these fancy, cool things that I don't actually need. So being able, and my parents are a lot of help for me. I'm actually in the process of trying to move out. So I've been saving money to move out. And it's just, to me today, it's a blessing in my life to be able to save money and be able to be responsible adult. Like that is a big deal for me because before all I cared about was getting high. So recovery has brought me being able to be a responsible adult, being able to move into my own place and know that I'm going to be okay. And know that my parents are still going to be there. They're going to be there for me no matter what. And I have an amazing support system in the recovery community. So that's important to me as well. And financial for me has definitely grown, and I'm still growing in recovery when it comes to that aspect of my life.
So I just want to read some of the comments that I'm seeing. You might see these as we're talking here. You have 1, 2, 3, 4 people that are watching. I love you too much, Danielle. So beyond proud of you, sis. You did that. Killing it, girl. That's my sister. So proud. That's some really good shit right there. I mean, you know, to know that.
Now I'm gonna cry.
So hey, you know what? We can do that because that's the power.
We can.
Yeah. So with the financial stuff, and I think it's a critical thing to talk about because for people in early recovery, not everyone, but for a lot of people in early recovery, it's a struggle. It was for me when I rebooted my life when I was 29, and it was again when I was 40. You know, we have to learn about responsible money management, about running from a budget, about, you know, how can I repair my credit and all of those things. And I heard you say a couple of things that you're learning, you know, self-restraint and kind of that delayed gratification, because in our using years, it's all right now, right now, right now. And we learn in recovery that it takes time. And I hear you saying that. And family, again, you brought it up again, the support of your family. So that's all good. So let's talk about education. And this is whatever it means for you. It doesn't have to mean you're planning on going to college or even, but just overall, when you hear that word education as a person in recovery, what does it mean to you?
I think definitely education is important because I for sure took it for granted in my life when I was in active addiction. But I did, so I dropped out of high school. I received my GED when I was 23. Yep. But I think education is important. I think sometimes school's not for everyone. Yep. So I believe that if that is something that you wanted, so what I want to say right now, in recovery, anything is possible.
Yeah.
Like seriously, like if you want to, look at you, you're a freaking doctor.
It's kind of
like literally anything is possible. In my recovery community, I've seen so many people transform into these beautiful butterflies and are able to do any, like literally if you think about your dream. Well, if you think about your dream when you were a kid and say, okay, I want to be this, you can do it. It's not too late. Mm-hmm. And that's the gifts of recovery. So education for me in recovery, it's endless. You could do anything you set your mind to. And I think it's a beautiful thing. But I also think that school's not for everyone. Yeah. So I believe that education is important, but if that's not for you, that's fine too.
learn something, right? Learn.
Yeah.
What I'm about is educate yourself on you. And another area that I even think education is important, like what was really helpful for me is learning about family systems, right? That was brand new to me.
Yes.
But when I just learned, and you can freely go online and learn about how family systems operate, that was powerful for me. I worked without a college education for nearly 30 years of my life and had great success. I own 2 small businesses. Yeah, now I'm this fancy professor, college professor with a doctoral degree. But and you said it right there. Listen, if you're listening to this out there, you can do whatever the hell you want, right? I was on the streets. Danielle could tell us, I'm sure, stories of where she's been, and look at what she's doing now. And I know she's going to accomplish even more. So just a broad education, whether a trade school, or if you want to go to college, great. Or if you want to educate yourself on how to start a business or whatever it is, it kind of ties into all of the areas of our life. But what I think is important is to have that broad base of knowledge. That's what's really important. So we've got one more area that I'm kind of going to wrap up into one. It's 2 arms because I think you need to look at them both, but you usually look at these 2 together, and it's nutrition and exercise. And Tyler, my son, he's like, oh God, here he goes. But no, whatever it means to you, because what I tend to hear, especially from people in recovery, is you do pay attention to these areas. You might pay attention more than you think you do. But what does it mean for you as a person in recovery when I say those 2 words, nutrition and exercise?
Well, it definitely means for me, because when I was in active use, I didn't really eat. I didn't really ever eat, or I didn't eat the right things. And I was extremely underweight when I went to treatment, and I've gained about 50, 60 pounds. And sometimes I get self-conscious about that, but I'm healthy. And I think it's important. I don't exercise. Well, I walk around, and I'm going to start being more mindful about what I'm eating. But I think that those 2 aspects in life and recovery are really important, because we've damaged our bodies for a long time, or whatever the case may be in anybody else's situation. I think it's really important that you are mindful about those things, and that you take care of your body, because you damaged it for so long, and you can fix it. So it's just all about being mindful about what you're eating and what you're doing to yourself.
Yeah, and you brought up a couple of great points, and good for you that you're healthy, right? Because that's what it's about. And I'm not a health nut. If my wife's somewhere in the house, I like donuts and my fruit pies, and but I also, I eat a banana every day, and I try to eat, it's balance. If you're listening to this out there, I'm not advocating or saying that you should, be running every day and going to the gym all the time and being, completely healthy with what you eat, but consider what you put in your body. That's what's really important. And I see this happen for some people in early recovery, as they're like, oh, this is great. And then they're frustrated all the time. They're stressed out all the time. And what I ask them, what are you putting in your body every day? Are you slamming caffeine all day long and you're not putting anything nutritious in? Well, just consider that, right? Think about that. That was something that really helped me. I remember in treatment, learning about it, and then educating myself on the effects of just caffeine and sugar on psyche, right? So just having a mindfulness of that. And so it's good to hear that, you're mindful of that and you're paying attention to it in those areas. So, oh, yes, nice. So just tell me what's important to you. And just for those listening, I have, this is me or Danielle in the middle, and then who's influencing me in my life. And I think this is a critically important area, to have positive, forward-thinking people surrounding me, because the people that I interact with regularly have a direct influence, either positive, negative, on me. So what's important for you when thinking about the people that you surround yourself with?
So it's definitely my children and my parents, but mostly for me, it's people in recovery. So I have no friends that are in active use. Everyone that I hang out with or we do fun things with are all in recovery. I believe that if you stay in the middle, then you won't fall off the edge. And that's important for me. I like to be involved in service work. So I'm a member of Narcotics Anonymous, and we do a lot of good things in my community. My fiance is in recovery. My very best friend, Mary, is in recovery. There's a lot of people. And I can actually say today I have true friends. Like, I don't have people that just want things from me. They actually genuinely love me and care about me, and I genuinely love and care about them. And I think that that's the best thing about being in recovery, is that you get to start over. You only have to change one thing, and that's everything. Yeah. But you get to start over, and you get to make this amazing life. Yeah. And at the beginning it's hard, because you're like, oh, I don't want to do this. Like, are you serious? I have to do this forever. But it's an amazing thing. There's endless possibilities for you in your life if you just keep moving forward and doing the next right thing. Yeah. So
good. I like that. And you're right. If I'm surrounding myself with positive people in my world, it's going to be a lot more difficult for me to, cause problems for myself, right?
Yes.
I'm a strong believer in that. I have on my list, I have Corey and Tyler and Brett, my wife. These people that I interact with on a regular, daily, weekly basis, they know me, right? They know my hopes and my dreams. They know my struggles. And so they can hold me accountable to, hey, like when I was finishing my doctorate, I told people, I hate this process. I'm so right. I was real with them, and they would send me a message. How's it going? Are you writing? Right. Or whatever the struggle is, but pushing me toward those things I want to achieve. And we're almost done with this. Danielle, you've shared some amazing stuff, and you shared something that I want to share with our listeners, that I want people in recovery to get involved in the communities they live in. Mm-hmm. Danielle, my challenge for you is to get involved in the community you live in big ways. I want you to be a mouthpiece for people in recovery to show the community that recovery works. And this is my challenge for you. In Kittitas County, I'm on the Kittitas County Mental Health and Recovery Board. I get to help influence and shape how our community helps people find a path to recovery.
Yeah.
How powerful is that, right?
Yeah.
I want you to just consider that. I want anyone listening to consider, this is going to sound crazy, I'm not going to get political, but I think of my friend Tara Simmons. She lives in the Kitsap County. She's running for a state seat in the legislature. She's a person in long-term recovery. How powerful is that, right?
Yeah.
Because here's the deal. Do you know how people get treatment in a lot of cases? It's how I got treatment, through tax dollars, right? So what a powerful voice that could be. And I'm not saying you need to run for office, but in a city, county, or state role, I need people in recovery to get involved. So my challenge to you, Danielle, is to just consider that. Consider getting involved in Yelm in some way to help be what you've done in this less than an hour, a positive voice for people in recovery. Perfect. That's all I have. Danielle, you've been amazing. Any parting words maybe for that one person that's listening out here that is thinking, maybe this recovery thing is for me? What would you say to them?
That it's definitely for you and you deserve it. And it's definitely just one day at a time. I think people get overwhelmed with things and they're like, oh, I don't want to do it. You can do it.
Yeah.
If I can do it, anybody can do it.
Hey, so. I think, Dan, I want to interview you again because you're speaking my language. I really do. You, it's true. All we have is right now.
Yeah.
9:27 a.m. on Monday. I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. I damn sure can't do a thing about what's happened in the past. So I like to stay as much as possible right here. Yeah, we need to have goals. Yeah, we need to work toward those goals. Yeah, we need to address stuff from the past if we need to address it. But really, the most control we have, Danielle just said it, is right now.
Yep.
Thank you, everyone, for being here. Danielle, thank you.
Thank you, David.
And everyone have a great rest of your Monday. Bye-bye.
You as well. Bye.